Hello, everyone. My name is Seth, and today I'm going to give you my review of Avatar: The Way of Water. Avatar: The Way of Water is directed by James Cameron, stars Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldana, and it was the highly anticipated sequel to Avatar in 2009. And this is one that I actually missed in theaters. I had plans to go. I was going to go. I had gone as far as to buying my ticket. Life got in the way. Didn't get to go see it in theaters, but it finally came out on streaming this past week, and so I had to sit down and watch it. But before I go any farther, go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. So some of my background with Avatar, I'm one of the people, probably in the minority, but I'm one of the people who thinks the first Avatar is fine. I think it's fine. I don't really think it does anything special other than everything that it did for visual effects and performance capture and things like that. That absolutely was revolutionary. You go back and look at the movie, it still looks really good, and you can't take anything away from the original Avatar. It is a beautiful film, and just the technology behind it is just literally revolutionary. But other than that, I thought it was okay. And, it's kind of Fern Gully in space, or like Dances with Wolves, something like that. But it didn't really do it for me. And, I was young when it came out, 2009. I was just barely a teenager at that point. So I watched it again a few years later, still had the same reaction. And so I was interested to see what I would think of this film. And I have to say, it's pretty much exactly the same as I thought about the first one. To make a long story short, I thought The Way of Water was fine. It was just okay. I did not hate myself after watching it. I do not feel like I wasted 3 hours of my life. But I don't really think that this movie is going to stick with me. That kind of movie that just will not leave your brain. It lives up in here rent free. Recently for me, Across the Spider-Verse. That's one I'm constantly thinking about still. And I don't see this being a movie like that. But jumping into some more of the details about it, again, it is an absolutely beautiful film. I think the cinematography was really well done, and there was some really interesting things that he decided to do with the cinematography. It was shot very well. And again, the visual effects are outstanding. There's not really anything like it. This is another film from James Cameron that will push forward visual effects. What they did with the water. I know, this is something that's never been done before. And you can tell. And with the name, The Way of Water, the water in the movie should look really good. And it does. I hesitate to say it, but really the water in this is basically perfect. Some of the shots in my mind, I was it almost it does not compute, because I know none of what I'm seeing is real, but it looks real. There's not enough good things I can say about the work they did here visually. And their performance capture is incredible. The detail that they put into the characters, and even the creature design, things like that, is absolutely outstanding. Some of the close-ups they have on Jake Sully and just some of the other main characters, some of the other main avatars, just the attention to detail that they add to the characters and the attention to detail that they're able to just achieve fidelity wise is insane. Like I said, there's not enough good things I can say about it. This is another movie that will push forward visual effects, and I'm super, super excited to see more people start to kind of use these techniques and use this technology becomes more and more widely available to different artists. I'm so excited to see what the future of VFX looks like because of this film. All of the water stuff, underwater stuff, just everything. It made me want to go to the beach. It was just so beautiful, and I love just the overall environment. I love some of the shots that they had with the eclipse. It just looked so good. Literally the only thing I'll say that threw me off, I guess visual effects wise, was when some of the humans were in like some of those mechs. I don't know what about it. Just something about it just triggered in my brain. I'm like, it doesn't look right. Maybe it's just saying the humans in general. I don't know. But that was literally my only teeny tiny nitpick about the visual effects. A big part of storytelling is the story. And I wouldn't necessarily say that the script was strong. I don't think that this was a particularly interesting story to me. And I don't really think that the dialogue, for the most part, was necessarily strong either. Not to say that the performances weren't good. I think the performances were really well done with what they were given. I feel like the script and the story was just lacking some. And there were a few parts during the movie where I was looking at it, just watching it. I'm like, this is so cool to look at, but what's going on is just kind of boring. But that's really my biggest gripe with the movie. But I'd say that is a pretty big gripe to have when really the whole point of a movie is to tell a good and interesting story. And I just don't necessarily know if they did that here. I'm not saying it was bad, but like I said at the beginning, like I said about the first Avatar, it's fine. It's just, barely passing score for me. There were a few things in there I didn't really care for. I didn't really care for like the narration kind of throughout the story. There were a few points when there was narration where I was just thinking, you're giving me enough information visually. You don't need to be telling me. And so that's really one of my nitpicks, is telling and not showing. And another thing that just kind of took me out every time they did it, another thing that they did that just kind of took me out of the movie just a little bit every time they did it, was there was quite a few like fade to blacks throughout the film. And I don't think that was really necessary. And it, like I said, it did kind of take me out of the film a little bit. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but for whatever reason, it just kind of took me out a little bit. And maybe it has to do with how well I was kind of sucked into the world visually. I don't know, but that just kind of threw me off. Like I said, with some of the script and story, some of the characters really did kind of seem to be one-dimensional. You can kind of sum up some of the main characters in like a sentence, kind of even where they start from beginning to end. And there is some change in the characters from beginning to end, which is good. But I don't know. I guess I'd say there's not really quite enough. I love in stories where you just take your characters and you just keep squeezing them and squeezing them and squeezing them and just seeing kind of what happens. And I don't really know if they did enough of that here. This story did focus a lot more on the kids than I was expecting, and I was fine with that. It took me a little bit to get used to hearing Sigourney Weaver's voice coming out of a body that's supposed to be like a kid, teenager kind of avatar. So that took me a little bit to get used to, but it didn't take me too long. I did get over it, and I enjoyed her character. And kind of sticking with the theme of some of the characters being one-dimensional. The villains are very one-dimensional. They're very kind of just mustache twirling villain. And I would like to see a little bit more nuance from that, but we'll see what he does with these characters going forward, because, you know, we have Avatar 3, 4, and 5 to look forward to. And we are not going to talk about the fact that I'm going to be 35 by the time Avatar 5 comes out, especially with just recently they moved the dates of those 3 films, and Disney moved a lot of dates recently. But yeah, that's a long time. One thing I'll say that I did really like too was kind of the action sequence there at the end, there in the water and on the boat. I thought that was done really well, and that was honestly one of the highlights for me from this film. I think if I were to give it a rating, I'd probably give it maybe a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And the work visually, I would say, is doing a lot to pull that up to that 3.5 star level. But that's it. That's my review of Avatar: The Way of Water. What did you think about it? Go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. Are you like me? Did you think it was just fine? Did you not like it? Did you absolutely love it? Is it your new favorite movie? Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm excited to see what they end up doing with 3, 4, and 5. So we'll see eventually. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. And I'll see you next time.